Hello, my dear student. I'm Samprita. This is continued part of Unit 2 Demand Analysis. The topic is Elasticity of Demand. So, in today's class, let us discuss about elasticity of demand. The law of demand tells us that when the price of a commodity falls, its quantity demand rises, and when its price rises, a quantity demand falls, right? In earlier class we studied about law of demand. A demand and the price have a inverse relationship, right? When a price rise, demand fall. When a price falls, demand rise. This law of demand indicates one direction of the change in the quantity demanded in response to a change in a price. But it does not state by how much the quantity demanded increase as a result of certain fall in the price. That means it does not explain how much percentage fall in the demand, or by demand, or by how much the quantity demanded decrease as a result of rise in price. In other words, the law of demand tells us only the direction of change. It tells us only the direction of changes in the price and the quantity, but not the rate at which the changes take place. It does not discuss about a rate which a price or the demand change take place. This information as to how much or to what extent the quantity demanded of a commodity will change as a result of the change in its price is provided by the concept of elasticity of demand. So this concept that how much a rate changes or the quantity changes or what extent the quantity changes of the commodity, it will discussed under elasticity of demand. Elasticity is a ratio of a relative changes in a two variables or two quantities. It measures the responsiveness of one variable to changes in the another variable. It discusses about or it measures the responsiveness of one variable to the changes in the another variable. A degree of responsiveness of demand to the change in its determinant is called as elasticity of demand. It expresses the degree of correlation between the demand and price. That means elasticity of demand expresses the correlation between demand and the price. The elasticity of demand, when used without qualification, is commonly referred as a price elasticity of demand. And here is some of the definition given by some of the economists, namely called Professor Alfred Marshall, Professor Lipsey, and the Benham. Professor Alfred Marshall, according to him, defines elasticity of demand as the elasticity of demand in the market is greater or small according as the amount of demanded increase, much or less for a given fall in price and diminishes much or little for a given rise in a price, according to him. And Professor Lipsey says that and define the elasticity of demand may be defined as a ratio of percentage changes in the demand to the percentage changes in the price. So according to him, it is a ratio of the percentage changes in the demand to the percentage changes in the price. According to Benham, the concept of relates to the effect of the small change in the price upon the amount of demanded. It is a effect of small change in the price upon the amount demanded. So elasticity of demand is a measure of responsiveness or sensitiveness of demand for commodity to the changes in any of determinants. So it may be a price of a commodity, price of the related goods, consumers' income, or promotion of activities of the seller. So these are all. And according to Lee, There are several kinds of elasticity of demand, namely price elasticity of demand, income elasticity of demand, and cross elasticity of demand. These are the three types of elasticity of demand. Here, let us discuss about price elasticity of demand. What is the meaning of price elasticity of demand? Price elasticity of demand, generally defined as a degree of responsiveness of demand for a commodity to its changes in its price. So, it is a degree of responsiveness of demand for a commodity to a changes its price. The extent of response of a demand for a commodity to given change in a price, other demand determinants remain constant. Here only the price will be changes. Other determinants like consumers income, price of a related commodity, and price expectation, it should be remain constant. It is termed as price elasticity of demand. Professor Alfred Marshall introduced the concept of elasticity of demand, though the idea was evolved much earlier by economists like Carnot and Jesmill to measure the changes in demand in response to changes in price. So, in earlier day, this idea is evolved by Carnot and Jesmill, but afterwards, Professor Alfred Marshall introduced the concept of elasticity of demand. So here some of the definition given by various economists related to price elasticity of demand. According to Professor Alfred Marshall, the elasticity of demand in a market is greater or small according as a amount demanded increase much or little for a given fall in a price and diminishes much or little for a given rise in a price. It is as same as elasticity of demand given by Professor Alfred Marshall. And Professor Browning defined the elasticity of demand, price elasticity of demand. The elasticity of demand may be defined as a percentage changes in quantity demanded which would result from 1% change in its price. So change in its price. According to Miss John Robinson, she defined is in clearly the elasticity of demand at any price or at any output is the proportional change of a amount purchased in response to a small change in price divided by the proportional change of a price. Thus, price elasticity of demand is the ratio of percentage change in the amount demanded to the percentage change in its price. It is a ratio of percentage changes in a amount of demanded to a percentage change in a price. And it can be symbolically written as ED is equal to elasticity of demand is equal to percentage change in the amount demanded divided by percentage change in a price, or elasticity of demand is equal to proportionate change in the quantity demanded divided by proportionate changes in a price. And representing in symbols, the price elasticity of demand is equal to delta Q divided by delta P divided by whole divided by Q divided by P. It is a quantity divided by price. Or by rearranging this, elasticity of demand, price elasticity of demand is equal to delta Q, quantity of proportionate quantity of demanded divided by proportionate changes in a price into initial price divided by initial quantities. And Q represent the original demand and the P is equal to original price. A quantity of delta Q is equal to changes in quantity demanded, delta P is equal to changes in price. Owing to this, inverse price demand relationship. There is inverse relationship between price and the demand. The elasticity of demand with regard to price of a commodity is always having negative sign, right? It have negative sign. As price increases, demand decrease. As price fall, demand increase. So it is negative sign. This show that price and demand have inversely related. The negative sign is not ordinarily used in writing of value of price elasticity of demand. And here come degrees of price elasticity of demand. The elasticity of demand for different commodities different, right? For different commodity, there is different elasticity of demand. Some have more elasticity, some have less elasticity, some have unitary elasticity, equal elasticity. Some commodities have more elastic demand while others have relatively inelastic demand. Elasticity of demand may have value from 0 to infinite. So elasticity of demand have a value from 0 to infinite. It should however be noted that terms elasticity and inelastic demand are used in the relative sense. In other words, elasticity is matters of degree only. It is a matters of degree only. Marshall has suggested a threefold classification of degrees of price elasticity of demand. So Marshall given a threefold of degrees of price elasticity of demand. After modern economists have elaborated the Marshall classification of further and stated 5 kinds of price elasticity of demand. So afterward, modern economists has elaborated this price elasticity of demand. They given a 5 types of price elasticity of demand. They are degrees of price elasticity of demand, perfectly elastic demand, perfectly inelastic demand, and relatively elastic demand, relatively inelastic demand, unitary elasticity of demand. So these are the 5 degrees of price elasticity of demand. Here come we discuss a introduction part of elasticity of demand and price elasticity of demand and a types of price elasticity of demand. In next class, let us deeply discuss about degrees or the price types of price elasticity of demand.